Hey, welcome to Cold Country Homesteaders. Now if you've seen my recent videos, you already know this year's project is honeybees, getting them started and going. So we're gonna do a quick check on the tan hive today on this bright and sunny day. Now you may be thinking, man Jesse, that does not look like a bright and sunny day. And you may be wrong, because this is actually smoke from the Canadian wildfires. So it'll be interesting to see how it affects our honeybees today. I have a new paint marker so I can finally paint my queen. I got a new feeder that's not at all what I thought it was going to be, and why my wife does not allow me to order offline anymore. So that's a shame. I also have a sugar feeder for my tan hive to try and help them get going a little bit better. A lot of people commented in my last video. So if they look like they need it in this check, I will add it. It's already prepared and ready to go. I also had a lot of comments on how I should swap out my plastic foundation for pre-wax foundation or wax them myself. So I also have a little experiment to try in this video, and that's I have two frames that are marked. One was a pre-wax foundation, one I just waxed today. So I'm gonna give that a try to see what the bees like better and how fast they build their comb up off it and how neat it is. Yeah, let's get going. So my smoker is not staying lit or smoking as much as it normally does today. The pine needles are wet and they're not staying lit as well as they normally do. But if you can't see all the bees flying around here, it doesn't seem like the smoke is bothering them that much, so that should be a good thing. Alright, so trying out this new method where I'm gonna wax the frame or replace all these foundations with pre-wax foundation. I am actually not going to squish this comb, but I'm actually going to take it. So in my last video, someone did comment on it that this comb on the bottom, they thought I should leave it because they said that it just helps the bees to go between boxes. But the problem I have with it is that it makes it quite difficult to pull these frames out when they build it up too much, normally after about 2 weeks. So I'm going to continue taking it, but this time around, instead of smearing it on the frames, I'm actually going to take it down to a house so I can put it on some frames I have down there. Now another thing that someone commented on my last video that I agree with, that I've been doing, I don't put the frames exactly where they were in the hive, because I found that sometimes they would actually build on empty frames faster if I put the empty frames towards the center of the hive. But someone commented with the Wonky comb, if I put that along the side of the hive and it's built out too much, when I pulled my first frame, or even frames in between, I could actually roll the bees. Now rolling the bees is when you pull the frame out and the frame is so close to another frame or the side that when you pull it out, the bees hit the edge or another frame edge here, and they actually roll off the frame and it can kill them or damage them. Now most of your bees, it's not the end of the world unless your queen is on that frame. If you roll your queen, you're kind of done for until they make a new one. So it looks like this hive has been very busy. There's a whole lot of comb on a lot of these upper frames here, which is great. My issue is there's a lot of wonky comb here. This isn't protruding too much from the frame. I'm actually gonna put it back, and I'm gonna put it back the way they had it. This should be like that. because I'm going to I want to get back to my normal. I'm about to roll some bees right here. They have a lot of comb built up in between the frames here. So when I pull this, there's a chance I'm gonna roll some bees. Now be careful. You can see how that comb pulled and folded right over. That could have squished some bees. Luckily it didn't, and if my queen was in there, that could be an issue. So I definitely see where that's a problem with moving frames around in the hive if they don't line up right, or if they're building too much comb out. So I want to do a quick job at cleaning up these frames. That way I can take this comb with me down to the house, and I'm gonna probably coat more frames. Whoops. Oh, that got the bees off. I'm actually going to coat some more frames with this wax and replace a lot of this foundation with pre-wax foundation this weekend. That will hopefully help them build a little bit neater and nicer combs, so I have less of a chance of damaging the bees as they build out. Yeah, look at that. There's a ton of honey in here and a ton of comb that they started. This comb isn't too bad. It's a little wonky, but it's really not that bad. But this piece here has no honey in it, and it's wonky comb, so I'm gonna take that. So the fact that I see a lot of comb and it's full of honey so far, looks like the queen has not made it up to this box yet, which is not surprising since she's basically a new queen. She's pretty busy with laying brood down in all the empty cells in the bottom box there. So you may be wondering why I haven't put the bee feeder in yet, and that's because I'm very short on time today. I don't have enough time to pull off all the wonky comb, and after looking at it I realized there's a lot of wonky comb. The bees have been very busy even with all this rain, and I don't want them to fill it with honey before I can pull it. So I'm going to leave it for now. I'm going to bring up all my pre-wax comb up this weekend, swap out all the comb for the pre-wax comb, see if they do better on it, and just see if they, in the next couple of days, if they started to fill the pre-wax and the wax foundation that I did today. So that will be a good experiment. But I'll put this in this weekend. So what I'm going to do is I want these test frames to be as close to the center as possible, because that seems where the bees like to start building up their comb first. Now this frame here has a P on it. This is the pre-wax frame. Bought it cheap off Amazon. It looks like any other frame, but it is a little tacky, so I'm assuming that means that it has some wax on it. Put that right there. This frame here has an S on it, and that's for self-waxed. This is the one I did today. I heated up the wax and I just lightly brushed it across the top. You can kind of see the yellow just along the top of the comb. Some videos said you had to wax it very lightly. Some people commented you have to wax it heavily. So some spots are pretty heavily waxed. Some spots are pretty lightly waxed. So we'll see where they build their comb and how they like it and go from there. While I'm checking this hive here, I just want to take a quick break and go over this bee feeder. That's right, this is not a fancy hat for the horse races this year. This is the lid for a bee feeder. And this thing is massive. I mean, look at it. Like, I'm not a small guy, I got a few pounds to lose, but this top is wider than I am. This thing a bit. So When I bought this offline, why my wife won't let me buy anything anymore, this goes right on top if you weren't sure. It's a rain guard. This is a bee feeder. Now when I got this and saw it online, it didn't have a great description to it. So I initially just thought that, you know, it was like a giant chicken water. But this is actually for pollen granules. So what you do is you just fill the top, you adjust how much you want to come out at a time, and screw it down, and there's your pollen. So this is for a full-on apiary, like, I don't know, 50 plus hives. You throw it out, that way you don't have to put a pollen patty in every single hive. Alright, this will be the test right here to see if there's really any smoke in the smoker. Looks like the bees are moving, but they might just be moving from the air blowing on them. Yeah, I'm gonna say they're probably just moving because of the air blowing on them. So we'll take that. The other thing with a lot of comb in between these upper and lower frames that I've seen in a couple of checks here is when I do pull the upper box off or frames off, you kind of get this, now if I can get it up here, where some bees are actually getting squished inside there, and I don't want that to happen to my queen. So keeping this clean and clear, even though they're just going to rebuild it, will help my chances of not killing off my queen. So this is almost rolling bees right here. See how I'm coming up and the bees are kind of coming off that frame. So they're not rolling, but they're close enough where they're kind of jumping off ship onto the side of the box there. So this is some pretty nice neat comb. They did have this last time. It's a little wonky comb, but I'll clean up that this weekend. So actually, the last time I checked this hive, couldn't quite fit into the last video, it's the first time I've ever been stung by these honeybees. I've been a little worried that I'm allergic to honeybees, because I used to be allergic when I got stung, but might have just been a wasp or something I was allergic to. Alright. I believe that's some bee bread there. Lots of honey. This frame is pretty well packed. There's a ton of little flakes in this comb right here. So new eggs that the queen laid. I don't have my smoker, so I am blowing on them a lot today, which they don't seem to, normally they get pretty upset, but they don't seem as upset by it today. I'm down to the last 2 frames. I have yet to find the queen, so I'm afraid that we're not going to get her marked today. So last video I promised that I would have something exciting coming in the mail to share with you guys in this video. No, it wasn't that bee feeder, it was this. Now what is this? This is a nuke box, and I'm very excited to hopefully be doing my split this coming weekend in my blue hive that's been doing much better than my tan hive. I bought these just to try out and do my splits with these. They'll give the bees less space to build, but should help them build a little bit faster. They kind of like tighter, smaller spaces. That's kind of half the fun of it, is trying something new and seeing how it goes. But I do understand there's some things I'm doing a lot of people didn't or don't agree with. But it's a different way to look at it, and this is my first year beekeeping, so my main goal is just to keep them alive, and beyond that, I just want to try some new methods, some new techniques. Well, everything's new to me, but some different ideas that may work better or worse, and also share those with you guys, because maybe there's something you don't know that I try and you see it work and you want to give it a go, and to me that's worth my time making these videos. So thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.